Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us for another edition of our 6 p.m. news over Camdis Television. Let's begin straight away with our headlines. Under the theme Transboundary Water Cooperation as a Tool for Addressing Climate Change in Africa, Cameroon this April 28 hosted a high-level dual workshop to launch the development of its national plan for implementing the 1992 United Nations Water Convention and to strengthen regional capacity for managing shared water resources. And we shall be taking a tour out of the country where 6 men have been handed life sentence for their role in the deadly June 2020 jihadist attack on a military in northeastern Cote d'Ivoire, which claimed the lives of 14 soldiers. The verdict, delivered nearly 6 years after the assault, underscores the determination of the authorities to combat extremist violence in the Sahel region. You have these stories and more in a bit. Thanks once more for joining us. The Paul Biya's Glass House held a significant moment of parliamentary diplomacy on April 27, 2026 as the Speaker of the National Assembly, Right Honorable Theodore Ndatou, held separate meetings with the ambassadors of Algeria and Libya. The discussions highlighted Cameroon's ongoing efforts to deepen bilateral cooperation through legislative agreement, particularly in key sectors such as education, security, and institutional partnership. Bertrand Tita.
The first audience brought together Speaker Ndatou Theodore and Algerian ambassador to Cameroon, Abdallah Boukemach. The Algerian diplomat conveyed congratulations to the Speaker on his election and extended wishes for success in his mandate. He lauded the quality of friendship and cooperation between Yaoundé and Algiers, stressing the role of the parliamentary diplomacy in deepening relations that date back 1964. Talks reviewed the state of bilateral cooperations with particular attention to the Cameroon-Algeria Joint Commission. Preparations for the next session scheduled to hold in Yaoundé before the end of 2026 are reported to be at an advanced stage. On interparliamentary ties, both officials explored avenues to revitalize parliamentary friendship groups, intensify exchanges of expertise, and organize reciprocal visits between lawmakers. Speaker Ndatou Theodore expressed gratitude for the courtesy call and reaffirmed the National Assembly's commitment to support all initiatives that consolidates Cameroon-Algeria relations built over 6 decades across security, education, infrastructure, and transport. The audience was attended by Honorable Ndumu Pauline, Vice President of the Cameroon-Algeria Parliamentary Friendship Group, Clerk of the National Assembly, Essian Andre Noy, and Chief of Staff to the Speaker, Professor Isaac Tamba. Later the same day, the Speaker, Ndatou Theodore, received His Excellency Salem Gariani, Libya's Chargé d'Affaires at interim. The meeting serves as a platform to review diplomatic relations between Yaoundé and Tripoli, established in 1974. The Libyan convoy congratulated the Speaker on his election as head of the National Assembly. Discussions centered on strategic parliamentary diplomacy, with both parties underscoring education and mutual support to international organizations as pillars of cooperation. Speaker Ndatou Theodore noted that Cameroon-Libya collaboration in education focuses on strengthening institutional capacities and promoting a culture of peace. He further highlighted that both nations coordinate within the African Union and United Nations on diplomatic cooperation, regional stability, and humanitarian solidarity. Present at the audience were Honorable Mariam Goni, the President of the Cameroon-Libyan Parliamentary Friendship Group. Monday's double audience signals the National Assembly's intent to place parliamentary diplomacy at the service of Cameroon's foreign policy. With the Algerian Joint Commission set for Yaoundé and renewed emphasis on education and multilateral coordination with Libya, the House under Speaker Ndatou Theodore is positioning itself as a facilitator of strategic people-centered cooperation across the continent.
And as you heard in one of our lead stories, Cameroon has this April 28, 2026 hosted a high-level dual workshop to launch the process of developing the national plan for the implementation of the 1992 United Nations Water Convention in Cameroon, presided over by the Minister of Water and Energy Gaston Elundu Esomba. The dual convention signals a strategic step toward enhancing water diplomacy and climate resilience across Africa. Melanie Bo and Madoshe Kwiati in the following report.
The event brings together ministers, diplomats, basin organizations, and United Nations agencies to launch Cameroon's national plan for implementation of the convention, while simultaneously building regional capacity for integrated management of shared waters. Officials describe Cameroon's hosting as a clear strategic choice, citing its pivotal position at the crossroads of Congo, Niger, and Lake Chad basins, and its 2022 accessions to the convention as the second Central African state to join.
Workshop beginning today under the theme Transboundary Water Cooperation as a Tool for Combating Climate Change in Africa aims, in general, to strengthen the capacities of our countries and transboundary basin organizations in the ECAS region. It is also part of Cameroon's commitment to develop an implementation plan for the Water Convention.
The workshop unfolds amid mounting climate pressure on the sub-region. Though Central Africa remains a low emitter of greenhouse gases, speakers underscore that it is on the front lines of climate disruptions, with irregular rainfall, intensified flood and rising water demands threatening food security, livelihood and stability.
And the Water Convention is exactly a global legal and intergovernmental framework and platform helping the countries to cooperate, to prevent conflicts, to address challenges such as data exchange, such as financing, such as increased flooding and droughts, etc., etc. And Cameroon has taken a leadership role in joining this convention in 2022 as second country from the Central African region.
With 14 African states now parties and over 20 others in the accession process, the convention provides a proven framework to prevent conflicts among states, ensure transparent data sharing, protect transboundary groundwaters.
The step is to really implement the convention, to make use of its provisions, but also of its support frameworks, to actually take concrete measures by, for example, establishing early warning systems, by rising national policies, by dealing with the concrete challenges such as flooding and drought, etc., etc., by constructing green and blue infrastructure, and especially also by bringing on board the other countries in the region into the Water Convention.
Implementation cannot succeed without inclusiveness. The National Implementation Plan will ensure the full involvement of women who are the primary managers of water in rural communities.
It is a shared commitment to manage what no country can manage alone. Water does not respect borders. The effects of climate change transcend national borders and call for coordinated responses. And the consequences of inaction, droughts, floods, waterborne diseases, inter-community tensions, do not discriminate between rich and poor, men and women, the able-bodied and persons with disabilities.
The dual format reflects a deliberate synergy while the national workshop focused on operationalizing Cameroon's legal and institutional adjustment. The regional session equips member states and basin organizations held under the theme Transboundary Water Cooperation as a tool for addressing climate change in Africa. This double convention underscores a turning point. The convention is not merely a legal text, it is a shared commitment to manage what no country can manage alone.
The 2026 edition of the International Labour Day will be celebrated on Friday, May 1st, 2026. Ahead of the day, some workers in Yaoundé say talking about decent work is a far-fetched dream because the reality on ground is more of survival of the fittest. Let's take a listen to them in the following report by Freddy Esomo and Promise Akante.
Being gainfully employed and falling under the category of decent work seems to be a far-fetched dream for some Yaoundé denizens who prefer petty businesses that keep their body and soul together. As a business person, taking care of those working with you as well as the family is a matter of survival.
I am a shop owner. So I'm a shop owner. Then I have people I'm working with them. I'm very happy because them also benefit of what we are doing. And I'm a head of the family, so I support my family and I support them also because anything that comes out from there we share.
Conscious of the fact that your business can only flourish when your customers are satisfied, understanding each of them is a business strategy.
I know how to handle my customer. With my customer, they don't complain. So with my job site, and there's nothing that I will complain or I will say anything because nobody employ me. I'm an owner of the shop. Then I do all possible means that everything should pass successfully.
No matter what happens, these categories of workers also have the right to celebrate the International Labour Day.
The first May that we celebrate because we work so hard to wait for that day to come. So then presently now we are very happy because we are organizing things to pass. And that day we are going to play ball to invite some people who play ball together. They enjoy that day together.
If for business persons everything seems okay, for those working for someone else, the reality is different. Some of these arrangements do not even include salaries. It is not decent work because it does not permit me to solve all my problems. I work for someone. With him, it is not a job like being paid per month. With him, we just agreed on his percentage and the rest we figure out how to pay the bills. It is not a job that he pays you per month. As the celebration of International Labour Day draws closer, certain sectors of the labor force definitely need more attention.
Let's now talk culture in this newscast, where in a press conference held on April 27, 2026 ahead of Sonakam 2026 elections, candidate Mercy Ambrose addressed artists and the media promising transparency and reform in the management of artists' rights. The event brought renewed attention to long-standing complaints about copyright and royalty issues within Cameroon's music sector. Melanimbo in the full report.
During the press conference, candidate Mercy Ambrose presented his vision and ambitions for the future of Cameroonian artists. His intervention was framed as a direct response to the concerns raised by members with the call "The Voice of Artists Counts," echoed throughout the session. Organizers urged the public to stay connected to follow the key moments, positioning the election as a turning point for collective management in the country.
I've decided that why we are here today giving this press conference is because we have sent in complaints. We have sent in complaints. There is some irregularities in this election where we were asked to write by writing. They told us that administration is by writing. We wrote. We complained. They said we should wait for an answer. People should know that, especially the administration, that this corporation belongs to us, the artists. Contributed money to 200,000 francs to create Sonakam and asked for a license, went in for what we call a registre de commerce, that's a business license, and asked for the license from the Ministry of Culture, and they gave us.
Members of Sonakam have denounced unresolved dysfunctions, continuing the cycle of disputes that has marked the organization. The presence of high-profile figures underscored the stakes of the 2026 elections, with artists seeking greater accountability and representation in the management of their rights.
For 5 years, we've been stagnant, and a lot of divisions. That we've had a lot of divisions amongst artists. So it's not a matter of people who say because this one is tribalism. No, it's not a matter of music doesn't have boundaries. So we all are one people and we need to work jointly to achieve. But because I'm seeing there are people who are not up to 10 years in the arts field, but they are free to come to elections. Formally, you don't come to elections when you are not up to 10 years like a societe because you have right to come to an assembly. when you are up to a société. But for adhérents and stagiaires, they have to vote you. So I think this equipe which is ruled by Mr. Ambroise will be a better one.
The press conference reflects its commitment together for a new musical dynamic with the 2026 elections. Approaching, the focus remains on whether candidates can address the demands raised and restore confidence among artists. The live coverage ended with a reminder that the voice of creators remains central to the future of Cameroon's industry.
And if you are just joining us, it is the 6 p.m. news over Camdis Television. Let's now take you beyond our borders to get updates of what make news. First up in Côte d'Ivoire, as you heard in one of our lead stories, 6 men have been handed life in prison for their role in the deadly June 2020 jihadist attack on a military in northeastern Côte d'Ivoire, which claimed the lives of 14 soldiers. The verdict, delivered nearly 6 years after the assault, underscores the determination of authorities to combat extremist violence in the Sahel region. You have this story and more compiled in the following report. 6 men have been sentenced to life in prison for their involvement in the June 2020 jihadist attack on a military post in Kafolo, northern eastern Côte d'Ivoire, which resulted in the deaths of 14 soldiers near the border with Burkina Faso. The ruling, delivered nearly 6 years after the incident, also saw 17 other defendants receive 20-year prison terms, 1 person sentenced to 5 years and 21 acquitted, reflecting the complexity of the case. Authorities believe the attack was carried out by militants linked to extremist groups operating in the Sahel region, highlighting the growing security challenges facing coastal West African countries as violence continues to spread southward. Russia has expressed its desire to see a swift return to peace and stability in Mali following a surge in coordinated attacks by jihadists and separatists. About 7.2 million euros in compensation to more than 65,000 victims of crimes committed by former Malian jihadist leader Al-Hassan, who was convicted in 2024 of war crimes and crimes against humanity linked to the occupation of Timbuktu between 2012 and 2013. The reparations will include socio-economic support, educational programs, and psychological assistance, with special measures for victims of torture as well as women and girls who were particularly affected. And it is with that news out of the country, ladies and gentlemen, that we set the curtains to this edition of our 6 p.m. news over Camdis Television. It is always a pleasure staying with you. Do enjoy the rest of the evening in the company of interesting programs over the Republican channel. Good evening.
C'est l'actu.